Good afternoon, everyone. Creative 20th episode of Creative. Today we celebrating actually 20th episode. And creative ಅನ್ನೋದು ಗೊತ್ತಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ creative. Cre means creativity. To be active ಆಗಿರ್ಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ creativity ಇರಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದು. So to be active, we need creativity. ಸೊ ಈ ಕ್ರಿಯಾಕ್ಟಿವ್ ಅನ್ನೋ ಗ್ರೂಪ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ಎವ್ರಿ ವೀಕೆಂಡ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಆರ್ಗನೈಸಿಂಗ್ ಎ ಟಾಕ್ಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್. ಸೊ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ನ ನಾವಿಲ್ಲಿ ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಯಾವ ತರ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ಇರುತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ನಾನ್ ಟೆಕ್ಸ್ಚುಯಲ್, ನಾನ್ ಸಿಲೆಬಸ್ ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೆಡ್ ಅಂಡ್ ನಾನ್ ಅಕಾಡೆಮಿಕ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ನ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ನಾವು ಡಿಸ್ಕಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಇದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರತಿ ವಾರದಂತೆ ಈ ವಾರ ಕೂಡ ನಮ್ಗೆ ಡಿಫರೆಂಟ್ ಟಾಪಿಕ್ಸ್ ಅನ್ನ ನಾವು ಚೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದೀವಿ. ಸೊ ಇದನ್ನ ಇವತ್ತು ನಮ್ಗೆ ಸ್ಪೆಷಲ್ ಸ್ಪೀಕರ್ ಆಗಿ ಬಂದಿರೋವಂಥದ್ದು ನಮ್ಗೆ ನಾರಾಯಣ್ ಸರ್, ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ನಾರಾಯಣ್ ಶರ್ಮಾ ಸರ್. To introduce Narayan Sharma sir, I call Akshaya to give a small introduction about our speaker today. Akshaya.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon to one and all present here. A very warm afternoon to everyone present here. I am Akshaya and I take this opportunity to welcome our guest for the day, Narayan Sharma sir. We welcome you, sir. We are all very pleased to have you along with us this afternoon, sir. Narayan sir is a renowned assistant professor at the Cotton University, Guwahati, India, and also he is an adjunct professor at the School of Natural Sciences and Engineering, National Institute of Advanced Sciences, Bengaluru. Sir has pursued his undergraduate program of BSc Life Sciences in the year 99 and post-graduation in MSc Zoology in the year 2002 from Guwahati University. Sir has also attained his doctorate degree in the year 2013 from National Institute of Advanced Studies, Bengaluru. Sir has attained his postdoctoral fellowship in the years 2013 to 2015. Sir is a recipient of several prestigious awards, out of which he was recognized as a finalist to the lesser-known Habitat Grant in 2018. Sir has a very keen interest in subjects like community ecology, conservation biology, primatology, ecological pedagogy, and urban ecology. Sir has pioneered in publishing over 13 research papers, 5 book chapters, and innumerable popular articles. Sir is also a very impressive speaker. He has delivered over 17 international lectures, 15 national lectures, and over 10 state talks. One of his most popular and recent webinar was on how to design a successful livelihood called the Biodiversity Conservation for Sustainable Livelihood, which was held from 4th to 9th of October 2021 at CASFOS, Birmingham. We are so blessed to have such a versatile person with us, and we are all in for a treat today. Without further ado, I welcome you to this gathering, sir. We look forward for a fascinating session with you, sir. Welcome. Over to Supriya, ma'am.
Thank you, Akshaya, for welcoming our speaker. Sir, over to you, sir.
Okay, just.
Sir, ಏನ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತೀರಾ?
No, I am very always delighted to see Narayan Sharma ji. He is my friend and he is a very good human being because he deals lot of primates. That means you need to have a special heart, special love and affection. Obviously, he will definitely deal with all of us very interestingly. Many of our kids might have experienced his talk. Some new kids are there. I ask all kids to pay attention to Narayan Sharma and it's a chance to learn for me as well. Like last time I have learned a lot. Even for elders, it's a chance to learn. I also welcome, join Akshaya to welcome Narayan Sharma, Dr. Narayan Sharma. It's a fantastic to listen to him. Over to Narayan Sharma.
Okay. Thank you so much, Supriya, Akshay, and Srinath. Akshay for those kind words, and Srinath and Supriya for inviting me to give this talk. And actually, Karnataka is like my second home. So I spent almost 1 decade in Karnataka doing my PhD and the postdoctoral research. And very dear to me. So whenever I get chance, I used to come down to South and I spend some time in Bangalore, and I also really love Mysore. So thank you so much for having me today. Can you all see this slide?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, so last time I gave a talk on just a minute, who is doing this? I'm just, okay, that's gone. So last time I spoke about the primates in general, and I'm sure some of you have started developing interest in primatology. But today what I'm going to do is not talk too much about primate, but nature in general. Okay. And the title of today's talk is The Art and Science of Natural History. And this is a relatively very old science. It's much older than say, biology or physics or chemistry. And most of the scientists earlier were the natural historians. So when there was not a lot of experimental science, so most of the scientists earlier were all natural historians. So what is natural history? So can you see the next slide, right? All of you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Great. So there are multiple definitions of natural history, and some of the definitions I have kept it here in this slide. So natural history focuses on where organisms are and what they do in their environment. Okay. Can someone please?
Sir, I told you the annotation.
Okay, so what I need to do?
More. There is option.
There is more. Okay, disable.
Disable.
Right?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So natural history focuses on where organisms are and what they do in their environment. Okay, and this is a one definition that was put forwarded by Green and Lassos in 1888. Then just a minute, I think. Okay. Something is happening here.
Sir,
I'm not able to.
sir, a disable annotation is there, no?
Okay, I got it. Yeah. Okay. So another definition which was put forwarded by Halfpenny and Ojan is called natural history is primarily descriptive and comparative rather than the experimental or theoretical. For example, a lot of the scientists today, if you look at them, they are busy in doing some of the experimental work in the lab, right? And also there are scientists who are doing some of the theoretical work. Okay, theoretical means they develop some models, okay, ecological models or mathematical models. So it's mostly based on the theory. And there are scientists who are mostly working in the lab doing some of the experiments. So natural history is not about that. Okay, natural history is about the descriptive thing and the comparative thing. You go to a nature, so any wildlife area, or in your backyard also. So you go, you observe something, and then you describe this. So that is what natural history is all about. And I'll talk about why it is extremely important, natural history, in the later slides. Some of them also say come out with this definition. The Bates in 1990 says the study of life at the level of individuals. So all of you, I think, know that there are this level of ecological organization. So it starts with individual, then population, then community, then ecosystem, then biosphere, right? So the natural history is about the study of life at the level of individual. So if you are going out of your house, right, and if you see a bird or a tree or an ant or any living organisms, even if you go and see some of the rocks, okay, so that is actually comes under the natural history. And Wilcock and Eisner in 2000, they give this definition. They say the close observation of organism, their origin, their evolution and behavior in the relationship with other species. And Fleischner in 2001 gave a very interesting definition of natural history. He said, it's a practice of intentional, focused attentiveness and receptivity to the more than human world, guided by honesty and the accuracy. So this is more philosophical, and this is more inclusive in terms of the scope of definition. And natural history is descriptive ecology and ethology, Green in 2005 said, which is also similar to what Halfpenny and Ujun in 1989 said. And natural history, again, some of them define it as a observation and description of the natural world with the study of organisms and their linkages to the environment being the center. So this definition was put forwarded by a very famous natural historian called Tewksbury in 2014. Okay, but I personally like the definition that was put forward by Fleischner 2001 because it's a very inclusive in nature. Okay, it's not about like a very hardcore science, but it also talks about a lot of philosophical thing as well as a lot of art thing here. Okay, so one thing is very clear when we look at all these definitions, and these definitions give a huge emphasis on the observation. Okay, we need to inculcate a habit of observation, and if you can do that, all of you can be natural historian. Perhaps you are already a natural historian. Okay, so can you describe a crow's physical features? So let me check about your observational skill. So please unmute yourself and tell how a crow looks like. Anybody? Have you seen a crow, participants?
It is black in color, sir.
Okay, someone said black. So do you think all its body is black in color? How about its beak? How about its feet, eyes?
Most of its body.
Okay, most of its
Most
body
of its
is
body is black.
okay. That's very nice. Anybody wanted to try? What about its eye? Or would you like to say counter what she said? The entire body is black. Okay, let us see. So she was partly right. The body is black, but what about the gray area behind the head, right? On the neck, right? So there are crows. There are other crow. I'm just it's called the jungle crow, whose entire body is black. You are right, but these are the most common crow which are found in our uh, village, in our say cities, right? But it's most of its feather is black, but some of its parts are gray in color. Okay, so what happened? What happened here is that though we are we are looking at crow, but we are not looking at crow intensely. Okay, because crow is all of us see crow every day almost, right? But since we are not able to observe this crow very nicely, so we are missing some of this important characteristic of a crow, right? Can you describe a common myna, right? Have you seen the common myna? Anybody can talk about the, can you tell me the Kannada name of myna, common myna? It's there everywhere, in your home, in uh, in the town, on the road. If you go anywhere, you will see common myna. Can you describe the common myna?
Brown color.
Anybody? Brown color?
It is brown in color.
Okay, it is brown in color. Okay. What about its legs? Difficult? What about its beak?
No, sir, not sure.
So it's difficult, right? To just because have you seen, we have seen this common myna every day, right? Don't you? All of us have seen this common myna every day. Okay, so this is the common myna, right? Look at the beak; it's yellow in color. Okay, look at the feet, which are yellow in color, and you're right; these are brown, but it's not entirely brown. Look at the head. Okay, and look at the area behind eye, which are also yellow, right? And there is a white thing in the ventral one. So just the back of this bird is white in color. So what is happening here, that though we are seeing it, but we are not observing it. And natural history is all about observation. So yeah, Pranamaya, you have any question? Okay. Have you seen this guy somewhere? What is this?
Elephant.
Okay, Supriya said elephant. So where did you see this, Supriya?
Sir,
Where did you see this one?
in forest or usually in parks,
Okay, in park also. Akhil?
in temple.
In temple also, yes. Akhil, I think raised a hand.
Actually, I muted sir. Wait,
Okay, can you just unmute most of them? Or you can just write on the...
unmuted, sir.
No, you can unmute because he would like to interact. Let the students.
Yes, sir.
Many students are trying to answer, but it's not reaching to him.
Yes, yes. Unmuted,
Let the
sir.
students speak.
In zoos also we can see them, sir.
In circus. Sir, in national park, sir.
Narayan, you are hearing, right? People are responding.
Sir, muted, sir. Narayan, sir.
You unmute, madam.
Okay, very good. So somebody
Students are
said park,
responding.
somebody said say circus, somebody said national park, right? Which national park?
Bannerghatta National Park.
Bannerghatta National Park. Okay, very nice. So if I say you haven't seen this in Bannerghatta National Park or anywhere, So will you agree with me, or you will say no? We have seen it. So Priya, if I say that you haven't seen this in a jungle or temple, will you agree with me, or you
Maybe,
will say
sir.
no? Huh?
Maybe.
No, why? Well, because you have seen it, no?
But
Yes.
there may be some difference.
Okay, so exactly. So what Supriya said makes sense. There would be difference because what this picture is about the African elephant. It is not
Yes.
Asian elephant. Okay.
Yes.
So why? Why it's an African elephant? How to make out?
Maybe
Ears are big.
ear. Yes.
Ears are big. Very good, because ears are also behind the shoulder, right?
Big trunk, sir.
Big trunk. Okay. Anybody? Anything else? If you see the dorsal part, this part, right?
Sir, proud part, sir.
Yes, very good. Now we have seen this. This is Asian elephant. Okay. So this
Okay,
is
sir.
Asian elephant and this is African elephant. So we have seen Asian elephant everywhere. This guy everywhere. It's Asian elephant. But we have seen African elephant mostly in the documentary, not in. Perhaps some of the Jew might have African elephant. I'm not sure, but we have mostly seen the Asian elephant. Can you see the difference? Right. So this part. Just a minute. Where is my mouse?
Sir, the African elephant is there in the Mysore Zoo.
Oh yes, my Sergio. Yes, they must have there. Okay, I'm not able to see my mouse. Okay. Where's my mouse?
Sir, I saw Indian elephant near one river, sir.
Yes. Just
What happened, sir?
I'm not able to move actually. My cursor is gone.
Try to escape it, sir.
Good afternoon.
Escape option.
I'm doing it. It's not happening. Okay. Let's see. Okay.
Now it's moving, sir.
Yeah,
Your
now-
cursor.
Okay, so this is the African elephant and these are the Asian elephant. Okay, so can you see now? So the power of observation. So had you observed it very closely, you'd have noticed the differences, right? Since we just watch it, we just look at it, but we do not observe. So that's the difference. So if you start observing things, okay, around your surroundings, and then if you describe them very precisely, then you are a naturalist. Okay. So let's do an awareness test here. Okay, all of you are ready to do an awareness test?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I'm going to play a video and you need to answer
Yes,
a
sir.
question. Okay, all of you are ready? Shall I play
Yes,
the video?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Okay, watch carefully, huh?
Yes, sir.
So what is
It's
the
not
question?
audible, sir.
Oh, I see. It's okay. So it says how many passes the team in white does. Okay, how many passes? Okay, so you need to observe the white people here and check how many passes they give to the other. What's the answer?
12.
7.
Okay,
13.
Somebody says 12, somebody says 13, somebody says, okay. So what would be the correct answer? So you want to watch it again? Okay, I'm just doing it again. What's the answer?
13, sir.
11.
11.
Okay,
11, sir.
20. Okay, okay. 13. 13 is the answer. So who said 13?
I said, sir.
Hi, sir.
Very good, Sai Madhuri. Okay, but did you see a moonwalker? Did you see the moonwalking bear? Okay, just a minute. Look at that. Did you see this guy?
Yes, sir.
The bear, sir.
So how many of you actually seen the moonwalking bear? It was there throughout the video, right? I played it twice. Who observed it?
ಮನೆ ಖಾಲಿ ಮಾಡಿದಾಗ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ ಏನ ಅದೇ ಮೇಲೆ ಮನೆ ಇಲ್ಲಿಂದ ಮೇಲೆ ಶಿಫ್ಟ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ರೆ ಸಿಗುತ್ತೆ.
So Sai Matra, you did? You watched it for the first time? Okay. So who watched
She
it?
texted, sir.
Oh, I see. Okay. So then I think whoever done this has a tremendous observation power. Okay. Now let me play another video, which is this one. It's like a whodunit. Okay. I think I'll just skip this because there is no sound here, but still you can watch it.
I could not understand.
Okay, so what happened that it's about the whodunit, who killed this person. Okay, so the inspector was asking everybody where were they. Okay, and when they finally come to that lady, and she said she was planting petunia. So petunia is a plant, okay, which they plant after May. But this incident was happened in January or February. So the inspectors found the culprit who killed this person. Okay, because she was not planting petunia. Petunia is planted after May, right? And she was telling that she was doing it now. Okay, so he observed it and found the culprit. Okay, but the next video, like episode is how observant were you. There were a lot of changes that happened in the background. Can you make it out? There were 21
It's
changes.
Sir,
The person who is lying down, his leg was Not in the position which is in the beginning, sir.
Very, very good side. So look at this now. Okay, I'm just playing it. You can see. So how many changes were there? There were 21 changes in the setting. But what we were focusing was only the plot. Who killed him, right? But we hardly pay any attention towards the surroundings. Okay, so this is very important because I think Sai Madhuri is a little observant, and she found that the leg was not in that place. But there were a lot of other changes that were happening in the surroundings. So if you can observe this, right, then you have a very powerful observation skill. Okay, it's not like you cannot develop these observational skills. You can. Okay, but what you need to do is to follow the tips which I'm going to share with you. Okay, and why it is important? It is not only important about the wildlife sciences or natural historians. Okay, it will really help you. Okay, to look at the minute details in your surroundings, and that actually many times people come out with some excellent observation or excellent results, or some of the finest discoveries are because people are observing things very, very different. Okay, how to be an observant naturalist? So if you have a lot of money, okay, if you can spare your pocket money, I really suggest you buy this book. Okay, and it was written by these two gentlemen, and the book is called the Naturalist Notebook. Okay, so it's an excellent resource if you really are looking for drawing. So if you can illustrate, if you can draw things, this is a very, very important book that you can buy, or you can ask your say school or colleges to get this book. Okay, and all these tips which I'm going to share with you is from this book. So first of all, cultivate curiosity and be mindful. Okay, so this curiosity to learn new things, to understand new things, that's the hallmark of a scientist. So each and every scientist, I think Srinath will also agree with me, that if you do not have curiosity, you cannot discover anything. Okay, and be mindful. So what is the mindful means? That means you open your mind every time you go out. Okay, you start observing small things. Okay, in your surroundings, in the forest, or in the if you go to a park, or if you go to a zoo, if you go to any place in your school, so you start being very mindful, you start observing things, and develop the curiosity. Okay, and if you have this curiosity, and if you can cultivate this curiosity, habit of curiosity, you may discover very new things in the future. Okay, and what are the 3 prompts? So what you need to do is, every time you see anything, you ask this 3 prompt. You say it loudly. For example, I notice. Okay. So for example, if you see a branch, or a liana, or anything, you say, I notice that. Then you can start your observation. Okay. Second is, I wonder. So I wonder is a second question. That means why it is happening like this, how it is happening like this, right? And the third is, then you do something called the associative memory. So you associate things with other things, okay, which you know. So in this example, I notice means start with objective observation, note how this study incorporates skill and multiple views of the seed pod structure. So this is a seed, okay, and you can draw these seeds and you can you notice these things. And second, you can wonder. So you can ask questions. For example, close bell does this restrict pollinators? Who is the primary pollinator? So anything that comes into your mind. Okay, so sometimes you may see some of the thorns in the trees, right, on the branches or on the trunk of a tree. You should immediately ask why these thorns are there, right? There are many trees or many shrubs, they have thorn, like the rose, right? Rose have thorn. Why there are thorns in the rose, right? So you first observe, then you ask questions, right? And then what you need to do is to associate this with something. So it looks like a cell phone, for example. The structure is like a potato, or the color is like tomato, something like that. So you associate your observation with some of the common things that you see every day. Okay, and these are some of the important say skills that you can develop. And when you go out, learn the names and taxonomy of plant and animals surrounding you. So you will be a naturalist. Okay, if you observe, if you know the scientific name, or even if it's not scientific name, you can know the local name, right? And local name of tree, local name of plants, local name of animals, local names of birds. That's perfectly fine. So, but you need to know about the different names and the taxonomy of plants and animals. Okay, you try to develop that habit. Okay, if you go outside, if you see a birds like I said, myna, don't look at only myna, but go and watch it very carefully. You can buy a binocular and you can watch these birds. Yeah. If you are very much interested in looking at, say, ants or insect, you can buy a magnifying glass and look at the ants, how their structures are, how they look like. Okay, so it's up to you what kind of animal or plants bring curiosity in. For example, have you seen all of these plants and animal species? So what is the first one? It's there everywhere. Supriya, can you just unmute them?
Periwinkle.
Very good. Who said periwinkle?
Others.
Oh, others. Very nice, others. Congratulations. And very good. This is periwinkle, the first one. Second one? Second one is called the bottle brush, right? So you remember now, if in your kitchen you may see this kind of brush, right? That to wash the bottle. That's why they are called the bottle brush. And third is the sago plant. Okay, these are there in some of the petrol pumps. So if you go to a petrol pumps, you may find these trees there. And what is the fourth one? Animal.
It is
Bed
bedbug.
bugs.
Excellent.
Bedbug.
Excellent, Akhil.
Bed bugs.
Yes, it's a bed bug. Very good. And what is the fourth one?
Ant.
Very good. It's a fire ant, right? What is the fifth one?
Demodex follicurum.
Demodex follicurum. But where do you find this species?
Yeah, in skins.
Absolutely. Very nice, Akhil. So in your face, right? In your face, this is there.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here on your face, all of you, right? So they lay egg, they reproduce there and die. They die also. They're extremely small. This is under the electron microscope. If you look at them, so you look like this. So all the the C kind of things is our skin. Okay, got it? So these are the things. So I'm not saying about. So if you are really interested, you can buy a microscope and we can watch some of these microorganisms, right? Otherwise, you can go out and you can see so many things. Okay, if a bed bug is there in your bed, like hopefully not. So in some of people's place, you can see bed bugs, and some of you are very well. You can identify things. So what you need to do is whenever you are going out regularly, try to identify plants and animals. Okay, in this way you will develop to be a natural historian. And you need to also be familiar with basic ecology. What is the basic ecology? Means, so what a crow eat, right? Where crow lives, where crow reproduce. Okay, so that kind of thing, very basic thing. You can observe the nest. So how many days it takes the chicks to come out from the nest. You do not have to go very near to the nest, but from the far away you can observe them with a pair of binocular, right? And you understand that, okay, so they take almost say 30 days or 40 days since they come out of their nest and become, and perhaps 6 months to become adult. Okay. Go on walk with knowledgeable naturalists and take notes. Okay. So whenever you get chance, whenever you get that you know that there are some nature walks happening, please go with them, because it's much easier and fun to go with a knowledgeable naturalist who will be able to answer your questions. Okay. And the most important thing is that you should take notes. Whatever you see, you need to keep this notebook with you whenever you go to the nature walk. Okay. So why? Somebody said that the faintest ink is more powerful than the strongest memory. So you may think, okay, no, I know this thing. My memory is very sharp, right? But you tend to forget things with time, with age. Okay. But if you have written this somewhere in your notebook, so that knowledge or that information will not go waste. Okay. So even the faintest thing, it becomes faintest over a time, over some ages, right? But it will remain there. Your memory may fade, but the written things may never fade, okay? Though it become very faint. So these are kind of a field notes and journals, okay, that you need to keep. So can you see, this is I think drawn by a 9-year-old girl. Look at the detailed observations. Look at the colors. Look at the drawing that she was able to make. So why not you, right? I'm sure most of you have this ability to draw. Okay, if you go outside, and so instead of just say drawing a very common tree or something, right? Which most of the drawing school teaches you. You go outside, look at the leaf, what the shape of the leaf, what the color of the branches, what are the fruits, shape of the fruit. So all this, if you can draw it and keep this observation in the field notes and the journals. Okay, in this way you will be contributing to science. Maybe sometime your notes will be very important in describing a new species of plants and animals. Who knows, right? So in fact, there are many things which are discovered by looking at the very detailed observations and taking detailed field notes. So I really encourage you to go outside with your pencil, with your color pencils, and draw things. Okay. So once you start drawing these things, you'll also start observing things which you would have otherwise missed. Okay. And these are some of these field notes, how to make field notes, how to do drawings. So I strongly recommend these books. Okay, if you can get hold of these books either through your library or through your personal collection, if you want to have, if you have this enough say pocket money left, you can buy these books. Okay. And I'll just skip this one. And one of the very important thing is about is ask questions. So you need to ask question every time you go out, and which is a very common. Everybody tells you there are no questions which are stupid questions. All questions are good questions. Okay, so you need to ask questions and try to find out the answer by yourself, or you can ask those questions. You observe something, you have certain queries about that observation. You go and ask some person who will be able to help you answering your queries. But if you are not, you should go yourself and ask questions, right? So you need to use these 6 interrogatives. So who focuses on identity and identification? Who made this nest? What kind of bird is that? Okay. And what focuses on describing events, broad trends, phenomena, behavior, what foraging strategy that this bird using, what is happening here, what happens when the sun comes out. So things like this. So you need to use these interrogatives like who, what, and where. Focuses on locations, whether local or large scale geography. Do I spot this species at the edge or deep in the forest? So is this bird a resident or is it migrating from somewhere else? Where it is going next? Things like that. And when? You should also ask when questions. So when focuses on the timing. Okay. What part of the nesting cycle are we in? Right. You have seen a lot of birds which build nests, and you can see that looking at nest, you can also see the timing, right? How focuses on mechanisms or processes, okay, which is very important in science, in understanding science. So you need to also focus or you need to ask some of the how question. Why questions are extremely important, because why question perhaps tell you the reason behind certain pattern in the nature, right? So why the bird fly in the V-shaped things? So have you seen birds, right? Most of the egrets or most of the birds go in a V-shaped. Why they do go? Why they are not going in one line or just spread everywhere and go? So why they are so disciplined in the air? So you need to ask that kind of questions. And I'm sure if you start observing, so this comes only after observations. All these things will come if you start observing things deeply. Okay. And if possible, and not most of the time, I not suggest this to, so you do not go and say, I just wanted to touch or smell a snake or cobra. No, don't do this. There are certain things which you can smell. For certain trees, you can go and touch, and you can go and listen the bird calls, right? And you can measure it. Some of the things, for example, how big is it? How big say a branch is, okay, how big the leaf is, so you can measure it, how big the trunk is. So you need to do this. So you need to use all of your senses when you are going out to do observation, and you can do simple observations. Okay, so you can conduct simple observation by say by looking at things in and around you. Okay, so most of the time what we think that you put some sugar, then you'll see immediately after some time the ants start coming there. How they get to know that there is sugar, right? Then what you can do, you can replace sugar with say salt. Do you think they come? And why they are not coming there, right? You can do that kind of very simple experiment and ask questions. Okay, so there is a simple question: why is tree green? Can you tell me? Okay, Akhil.
Because of presence of chlorophyll in leaves.
Okay, Akhil said because of the presence of chlorophyll. Okay, that's perfectly technical answer. There's no about it. Okay, Akshaya, you want to say something?
So yes, sir, because it reflects the green wavelength of the light and it
Very good.
absorbs red and blue wavelength
Yes,
because
because
it's
it reflects
necessary for photosynthesis.
photosynthesis, and because of the color things, so whatever you are reflecting it, okay, so that we see it, right? But the larger question is, so this is exactly what this scientist called the Fred Smith asked to his students. Okay, so his questions was not about what we said, chlorophyll or the light getting reflected from the surface of the leaf. Okay, but much larger question: what makes this leaf stay in the plant? Okay, why the tree is green? So he asked this because ideally what happened, this is the food chain, right? All of you know. So there are producers, trees, grasses are producers, and there are herbivores like a squirrel or caterpillar or bugs or beetles. So they are the herbivores. They will come and feed on the leaves, and above them are the predators, right? And in the top, like there are top predators. Or so this is the food chain. So what happened if you remove the predators? Do plant still be green? So this is what Freddie Smith asked to his students, and uh, along with the Nelson, Hairston, and Lawrence Slobodkin, they proposed something called the green world hypothesis. So green world hypothesis, what they said is, because tree is green, because there are herbivores which eats this tree, and there are predators which eats herbivores. If there are a lot of herbivores, there will be no that all the herbivore will feed on the all the leaves of the trees, and tree become brown. Okay, so there will be no leaf. Right? So they said this is the green world hypothesis. That means something above is controlling the entire food chain. Right? That's why the tree is green. Okay, the tree is green because there are some species which are controlling the population of herbivores, and so that the tree remains green. Okay, so now one of the students of Fred Smith, Robert Payne, who thought, okay, so everybody is saying this, so let's do an experiment. So what he did was one of the greatest ecological experiments. So it's not in the lab, okay, but in the field. So what he did, at that point of time, everybody knew that there are this uh, species, okay, in the seashore, where there are starfish, and there are a lot of other species were there, and they found that starfish used to eat all of them. Okay, starfish used to eat all of them. So Payne thought, what if, and starfish is controlling the population of all these species. So Payne thought, what if I remove starfish from this food chain? Okay, what he started doing is he started throwing this. So he started collecting this starfish and then throw it in the ocean. Okay, what happened, that initially, now there was starfish here, there was no starfish here. So slowly, when the starfish is removed from the system, the diversity of animals also started reducing. And ultimately, there was only one species, which is the mussel. they dominated the area. Okay, so what he come out with is a concept of keystone species. Okay, so what is keystone species? Is that there is one species, okay, which influence on the other species is much larger. Okay, if you remove this species, the entire ecosystem collapses. Can you see that was a very small question? When I say ask question, he asks question why the plant is green. From that from that question, which Fred Smith asked, Robert Penn did an experiment and find out this very interesting concept of keystone species. So in our forest also there are a lot of keystone species, right? So we call tiger as a keystone species, we call elephants as the keystone species, we call some of the ficus tree as the keystone species, because their contribution to the ecosystem is much higher than the other individuals. If you remove them, your ecosystem may collapse. Okay. So once you learn all these things, so another very important tip to become a naturalist is that once you learn this, you also teach others. So what I'm doing is that once I learn it, now I am teaching others how to do it. So here is my student with one of our researcher, who was one of our resource person. So he's Sartaj Guman, a very fine artist. So he's teaching my students how to draw. Okay. So then what you need to do is it's not only that if you went outside and observe it, okay, don't leave it there. If you should also collect data. And once you collect data, analyze your observation. So what you have seen. So if you start observing things over every day, every month or every year, then you can analyze that data to see what happened. For example, so I work in one of this small forest fragment, okay, which is located in Borajan. So this fragment is called Borajan. So where I have been observing, okay, the population of this monkey called hula gibbon since 2002. So these are the data from the earlier census. So I start observing them in 2002, 2005, 2009, 2018, 2019. Okay, can anybody tell me what is happening here? Y-axis is the number of individuals, on the x-axis is the years.
Decreasing.
Decreasing.
As years passed,
So
population of
Sir,
monkeys
as
is
years pass,
decreased.
the monkeys are decreasing, sir.
very nice. So right from 34 individuals, now in 2019, there are only 4 individuals. Okay, Ayush, you want to say something? Okay, so what happened? I went to the field, I collected my data, I observed this population. Now I'm also doing the analysis. You can also do this, right? If you go out every day, you count birds. Today you counted birds, tomorrow, day after tomorrow. So you have a data for your entire 1 year, right? And you'll see that there are certain birds which stop coming in summer, or there are certain birds which start coming in winter, right? Now you can analyze this, you can see the pattern, right? And you can say, okay, so from where these birds which are in the winter coming from, are the migratory birds, right? Then you search the literature, you may see this, right? You may see this. So you do this observation for 10 years, and you see that after 5 years, some of the migratory birds stopped coming to your place. Okay, then you ask why it is happening, right? Then you may get some very, very interesting results. So maybe the pond or the area forest near your house is completely clear, right? Or the pond which is near your house is filled and there are houses, right? So you may see that there are changes that's happening in your surroundings. So for example, this is Dr. Suhail Kader. So what he was doing, and I'm just going to read this. For 7 years, I walked the same stretch of forest. So this is in Bangalore. When taking my children to their school bus stop, while doing this, I also made a list of birds. This presentation shows some of what I emerged through this informal but pretty consistent monitoring projects. So you can see there is this bird called red-whiskered bulbul, and then the bird which is called the red-vented bulbul. So can you tell me what is happening with the red-whiskered bulbul, and what is happening with the red-vented bulbul from 2015 to 2021? What is happening?
Red-whiskered bulbul population is increasing, sir.
Okay,
And red-vented bulbul's population is decreasing, sir.
Very good. So now, why? The next question you need to ask why, right? So Dr. Suhail is also searching these answers, these questions. The answer of this question: why the red-vented bulbul population is decreasing, whereas the red-whiskered bulbul population is going up. Don't you think you can do this every day? You are going to school, right, or to some place. You observe birds, you record them, okay, and then after some period of time, you will see there's some trend. So some species remain same, some species remain population goes up, or some species population goes down, right? And you do not have to go to say Banarghatta or say Bandipur or Mudumalai, all those areas. I think you can do this in your backyard also, okay, in your village. So this person, David George Haskell, he worked on this 1 square meter patch of forest, only 1 square meter patch of forest, and he went there in every day for 365 days in a year and wrote a book called the Forest Unseen. Can't you do this? If you can do this, I'm sure you can also do this. So if you can go, if you just go in your backyard and if you document, say, ants, butterflies, birds, mammals, whatever, every day, but you need to be consistent. Every day you need to watch it. And then what you need to do is that you got this knowledge. For example, I got the knowledge that the monkey population are declining. What to do now next, right? Because this information is very, very important for to save those hula gibbons or monkeys from getting extinct from the area. So there is a report called State of India's Birds. So this report is a result of almost, I think, 1 crore observations of birds throughout India. Okay, what is happening here? So all of you have seen house sparrow?
Yes, sir.
Okay, can you tell me what do you think? House sparrows in India are declining, increasing, or remain same, stable same, the population of house sparrow?
They are declining, sir.
Okay, so the common thing is that people think that the house sparrow population is declining, but interestingly, this study shows, okay, these are the huge information for last 25 years, and they found that in metro cities the population is declining, no doubt about it. Okay, but if you look at the overall population of this bird, it's remain stable. So in urban area, in the rural areas, perhaps the species is not declining, and you are right, in metros they are declining. But if you look at this from before 2006 and the 2014 and 18, their populations are remain same. Okay, and now what do you mean by this? So what you are doing, you are observing things. Now you are analyzing these things, and you are saying that no, this species is not declining throughout India. So this space is indeed declining in metros because we change the housing structures and things like that, right? So there are habitat loss. The species are not able to survive in metros, but overall their population is stable. Okay. So what do you think about the status of Indian peafowl? All of you have seen this peafowl? Peafowl?
No, sir.
Peacock? Peacock, have you seen?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, peacock is male, peahen is female, but peafowl is male and female. Okay. So what do you think about the peacock? Is it decreasing, increasing, remain stable?
Sir,
Increasing, sir.
increasing, sir.
Increasing, sir.
Okay. Okay, very good.
Increasing.
So their population is increasing. You're very good, very right. So in fact, most if you are from Kerala, so there are many areas in Kerala where they were absent earlier. They were not present in Kerala, but there are reports of their occurrence from Kerala as well. Okay. So in fact, most of the ranges, this species is increasing, right? So now next question you should ask is why they are increasing, right? You got my point. So you observe something, you analyze something, now you can ask further questions. So there are certain tools. I strongly suggest this tool called the iNaturalist. Please download it. Okay. If you're not able to identify, say, plants or birds or snake or say fish, anything, you record your observation, and this is the Facebook of Naturalist. If you allow me to say this, so it's just like a social platform for discussing, say, your observations, and you put it there and ask people to identify this. So they will be able to help you identify the plants, and you can record this. So this will be your kind of a Facebook page. Okay, you can download this and install it in your Android phone. And if you are engaging with nature, it also has its benefit. Okay, for example, so this girl, so I'm not, I'll just put this here, you can read. She said how bird watching saved her life, because after 12, every mother, every father wanted their kids to either go to engineering college or the medical college, and she was also forced to go to this subjects, but she was not able to clear these exams, and she became very depressed. So she was not very well, and she went into kind of a depression. But after that, she start say observing birds, and slowly and steadily she gained back her. She was able to fight the mental illness, and so she is alumni of this very prestigious institute called the Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun. She finished her MSc, and I think currently she is working on in Africa. So can you see this? How if you are quite tense, or if you have a mood, if you have negative mood swings and things like that, you can, if you are suffering from anxiety, just go out and watch nature. And there are multiple evidences which say that if you are going and connecting with nature, it's helping people to cope up with some of the disturbances, okay, mental disturbances. So this is a book by Richard Law, who wrote this book called The Last Child in the Wood, where he said that particularly in US, these children are increasingly spending time indoor. Remember when there was lockdown in India, most of us were inside our houses, right? how difficult it was for us, right? We really wanted to go out and play. Okay, we really wanted to go out and explore, but we are not able to do that. Just think about it. In most, so his study found that most of the children nowadays are inside, so they are indoor. They're not able to so go out and play, and but because of that, most of these kids are vulnerable to very negative swings, mood swings, and they're also not able to pay too much attention to their studies. So what he said that there's a syndrome called the disorder called the nature deficit disorder, and most of the children who are indoor are suffering from this disorder. And he said, okay, please go out, enjoy, or spend your time in nature. It will really help you. And this columnist called the George Monbiot, who said that if children lose contact with nature, they won't fight for it. Okay. With half of their time spent at the screen, the next generation will be poorly equipped to defend the natural world from harm. So if you are not involving with nature, okay, you will not know the value of nature. Okay, then you will not protect it. So in order, because nature is very important for our survival. So if you are not protecting it, right, from multiple factors, we will not be able to say save nature in the future. Okay, so I'd like to end with this quote by Baba Diom, who said in 1968, in the end we will conserve only what we love, right? We love only what we understand, and we will understand only what we are taught. Okay, so so in order to do this, you need to go out, appreciate nature, right? Understand nature, and we'll understand only when we go out and learn from nature. Then we will be in a position to conserve our nature. Okay. So with these words, I would like to thank once again for all of you for listening to me, and the organizers, entire creative team, for giving me this opportunity to interact with you. So I stop here, and I'll be happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Okay. If any questions, you can raise your hands or unmute and talk with sir. Any questions?
Narayan, I have a simple question. Of course, it is very, very important that student, researcher, or community should be encouraged to observe the nature. But there is a hidden threat. Some of these observers are transformed into a developmental heroes, where they are creating conflict to the nature. That's the one thing. Like being an observer, being a conservationist, sometimes it is possible you become a developmental ecologist where you may destroy the nature. That's the one question. But I also wanted you to introduce one of our the audience, Satyanarayana. Hope, sir, if you can mute also. He is there in Sikkim University. Just I wanted to familiarize with you.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. Thank you.
Any more questions? Sir, you can check the chat box.
Chat box, okay.
How does art affect science? There is one question.
Yes, I think, thank you, Ganesh, for this question. So art and science, I think these are the boundaries that we made, right? And slowly and certainly, I think what we are doing is we are incorporating both arts and the science. So these are the disciplinary boundaries made for the convenience, for the sake of convenience. Okay, but if you ask me, art is not so much different from the science. I think these both art and the science complement each other. And increasingly, so if you look at this new educational policy, also recent national educational policy, and the common trend worldwide, and people from all walks of life, right? So they wanted something called the interdisciplinary nature of our subject. So you'll be very surprised to know that in our syllabus, we teach not only mathematics, but also we teach how to draw. Okay, so this is one subject, particularly I'm not able to say about the other subject, but this one subject of wildlife biology or environmental science, where we need people from all walk of the life. So then because artists are also important, who can convey this message of wildlife protection or nature protection to the wider audience much more effectively than a paper which is full of scientific jargons. So yeah, that's why I think we really need art, and it's complementing each other. And so coming to Srinath's lecture, Srinath question about some of the people who become, say, developmental biologists. So conservation is an extremely complex subject, extremely complex. So as I said, that it needs intervention or the involvement of multiple people, right? So it becomes very messy at some time, because some of the people say that, okay, so what is the harm of say creating a dam in some places? Okay, so because dams are not dams are creating electricity, and the electricity is thought to be a cleaner energy, right, compared to say the coal-based electric generation units, right? So, and it is much say cleaner than say petrol or diesel running vehicle. So then some of the scientists say that no, I think once you check a dam or check a river, or say, then the entire river ecology gets affected. Okay, so I think that there are this very thin line where there are no right or wrong here. Okay, so there are different people with the different perceptions and the perspectives. Okay, what is good in some places may be completely bad in some other places. So this is not a one suggestions or one solutions that fits all over the world, or even in Karnataka. If you look at it, maybe there are some solutions which are helping in Hassan to reduce the Indian elephant conflict, may not work in Panerghatta or those areas, right? So it's a very site-specific solutions we need to see. Yeah.
So I had another question.
Yes, Sakshen.
So taking in comparison the future of this wildlife or biological conservation, what do you think is better? Is it better in India or abroad?
Look, what happened in abroad, and particularly in most of the developed countries, they have already say destroyed their wilderness, right? And the consciousness comes much later, and now they're protecting it, and slowly the wildlife is getting back in those places. Okay, so what they're doing, that they're not say clearing forest at a large scale. Rather, they are importing say timbers from developing countries, which is putting tremendous pressure on other developing countries like Southeast Asia, or say Brazil, or Africa, right? So I'll just give you an example. This oil palm, right? So oil palm. So America is not able to do oil palm because the climate is not suitable there. So what are they doing there? And most of the Chinese people, and even the India is the second most say importer of oil palm. So what we are doing is we are getting palm, but forest of Indonesia and Malaysia are getting cleared. Okay, so the situation in India, I think, is still much better. Still better because we still have large carnivores. We still have large species like elephants in our forest. But if you look at say North America and European countries, they have lost most of their top carnivores. Okay, so any animal which is they perceive as a potentially dangerous to humans, they killed it. For example, wolf. They killed most of the wolf in America. So now, after a much hue and cry, they're slowly introducing wolf. Okay, but we still have large and potentially dangerous animal in our cities, in our towns, in our forest, right? So because one factors that determine is our cultural tolerance, so that teaches us to coexist with animals, and our belief system. Okay? We believe Ganesha, elephant as a Ganesha, right? And though there are many instances where people say electrocute or kill elephants, but later on they will go to those same elephants and pay homage to those elephants. So I think this is a very unique position. For example, this rhesus macaque. So in Himachal Pradesh, they said all these monkeys should be killed. Despite of that, monkeys are still there. People are not, because people associate monkey with the Hanuman, right? Our mythological character. So we think that they're like God. So I think these are some of the cultural tolerances that we have that allow us to have, say, wildlife intact in our forest. But yes, slowly, but the numbers are not very encouraging. For example, the tiger population has gone down because of the historical hunting and the contemporary poaching. Elephants number came down, but there are some of the very encouraging stories of 100 rhinoceros, whose number has increased from 200 to now close to 3,000 in Assam, right? So there are very encouraging stories of wildlife conservation, but in general, the wildlife conservation or the future of these species are still danger.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any more questions?
Okay. So next time, I think when I come to interact with you, I want to hear some of the stories from you people, that whether today's talk helped you in developing
I think
observational skills.
if you compare previous talks, there were few boys. They were trained in snakes. Some kid stories are there.
Okay.
Maybe we will, I think photographs we will share with you. One or two students who are conserving the snakes in some villages. Supriya, you remember that boy name who was working with the snakes? You can just mention.
Kishore,
and few small kids were observing birds.
Excellent.
Shared with us.
Okay.
There are, I cannot say all are inspired, but like today Akhil was answering, he is very good at understanding and subject. Like
okay.
Then Sai Madhuri, some
Very
kids
nice.
are there, but we need to see how at least they will remember once they go to college, they study these subjects, these things. They will remember Narayan Sharma at that time. We had a talk by Narayan Sharma. I mean, it's
sure.
making
so
impact.
What I'll also do
is to do that one only.
Sure. And Supriya, what I'll also do, I will make a PDF of my presentation and give it to them. Okay. So that they can keep it and they can revisit it if they need any.
No, this video is recorded. It is live recorded. It is there. YouTube. This is there.
No problem.
Some other videos, if you are there, you can share so that we will be sharing with them.
Sure.
Some interesting kids are there. They are doing some interesting photography, all those things.
Okay.
Hope they understand.
Great.
I think Satyanarayana sir, if you are hearing, if you want to just intervene, just as a familiarization. Satyanarayana is the professor of botany, biotechnology. I don't know whether Mike is there.
Yes.
Can you speak, sir?
I think I'm muted. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Dr. Narayan, very nice meeting you. And then Srinath often talked about you. So It's really, really wonderful meeting you and then hearing you explaining so lucidly to the children the natural history and the basic concepts of natural history.
Okay, thank you so much.
It's a very, very educative endeavor. I must compliment both Srinath and all of you
Thank
for
you so
taking
much.
up kind of initiatives, and I think it will go a very, very long way. I'm
Absolutely.
extremely happy, and then thank you, Srinath, for inviting me to this session. And let's hope I will also be able to participate in some way.
Yeah, we are
Yeah.
looking forward a talk by you as well. We'll not leave you.
And also I think Sikkim University, I have a friend called Bhojraj Acharya.
Yes, he's
Yeah,
in
yes.
zoology department. Yes, you know him?
Yes. Yeah, I know him very well. So please, please tell him to give a talk actually in the same forum. So he might talk about the birds of Sikkim and his own work. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, we look forward that.
That's certainly a possible. So I'm the dean of the same school.
Oh, I see. Okay.
School of Life Sciences.
That's great. That's great.
Thank you, Dr. Narayan, and
thank you so much for your kind words, sir.
Thank you very much. My pleasure. Please do visit Sikkim.
I'll do that because Bose is also asking me to come there, so definitely I'll come. Yeah.
Definitely.
No, he is from Mysore. You like Mysore. We also like Mysore. So link is there.
So Mysore is like a kind of a second home. I spent almost 7-8 years there in Mysore. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah. So I was in near the Kufri Lake.
Oh, that's where my house is.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So
I was near that Mahadeshwara temple.
Oh, okay. It's very close.
Yeah, it's very close.
Supriya Madam, plan for next time Satyanarayana sir talk also. He is an interesting speaker. He is a Veena player. Lot of other specialists are there.
Okay.
Have a good time with him as well.
Yes, sir. Sure, sir.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
I think with the permission of chair speaker, you can conclude, madam, if nobody is having question.
Yes, sir. I am concluded. Okay. Shall I conclude, sir?
Yeah, sure.
Narayan, sir? Yes.
Sure.
Now we are at the end of the session. On behalf of all, I thank Dr. Narayan Sharma, sir, for accepting our invitation and engaging us with his knowledge and teaching us observation techniques and documentation details and all, and showing that graphs. It is very happier to see that graphs, sir, and increasing the peacock population and birds population. It's actually very good, sir. And I thank all the creative members and participants for being with us. So I'm closing this session with this. Thank you very much, Narayan, sir.
Thank you so much, Priya, and thank you everyone.
Thank you, Narayan. Yeah.
Thank you, Srinath. Thank you, Satyanarayan, sir. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye, sir.
Thank you, Srinath.